Hey everyone, it's Tina of ChahooThreads. I thought I would actually come and share a bit of my story and just share where ChahooThreads was birthed out of. So I grew up on a reserve in Saskatchewan, right in the middle of the prairies, and I grew up with my family surrounded by our cousins and our uncles and our aunties and our grandparents, and my school was on the reserve. And it was definitely a rich life in community. We were just surrounded by all those that we loved, and so we were a strong family, strong community. But we were also, our reserve was also surrounded by small farming towns and surrounded by farms, and there was a lot of racism that went on between us and them. I remember as a kid hearing a story once, my dad telling a story to someone else. It wasn't told to me, but I overheard it. And what it was is that my dad was saying that whenever our family goes to the city to go to hotel, to get a hotel room, that he sends my mother in. And when he sends my mother in, we always get a good room. We always get a good room close to the pool, close to the restaurant, like just a really good room. And the reason he would send my mother in, the reason why she would get a good room is because my mom looks white. She's First Nation. She's Soto Cree, but she's just fair. And so she would get away as being white. But when my dad would go in, he said that we would get the back rooms, that we would get the crappy rooms in the back, that we had to walk away to the pool or walk to the restaurant. And that's just kind of what we ended up with. And even though this story wasn't told to me, I overheard it, and it really had a big part in shaping my life, I guess. It had this big impact on me and it was like where it created like this person who I didn't necessarily want to be. But I didn't want to be the kid who was gonna get the back room, or I didn't want to be the kid who got the leftovers, or I didn't want to be the kid who people felt sorry for because of the color of my skin. I actually wanted to be able to create my own destiny. But because of programming, I grew up not knowing who I was as a First Nation. I grew up not liking who I was and being ashamed of who I was. And I grew up just not liking the skin that I was created in. Years later, I met and married the love of my life, New, who is Samoan, Polynesian from the South Pacific. And for those of you who know a Samoan or have a Samoan in your life, you just know that they know who they are. They are people who are one of the richest people that I know, that they just so strong in their culture, so strong in their traditions, that when they walk into a room, they walk in with their head high because they know who they are. There's no question about who they are. And that's exactly who my husband is. So now you can picture our marriage. One person in our marriage just knows who he is, and the other person is unsure. There was a lot of jealousy at the beginning of our marriage on my part because he knew exactly who he was and I was struggling. And then there was a lot of frustration on his part because he didn't know where I came from. And so a few years ago, I met these women who became my closest friends to this day. And these women began to just push me to push me out of my comfort zone. They began to embrace me as who I was. Just embrace who I was. They began to love me for who I was. They began to accept me and they didn't care about the color of my skin. They actually would see right through me, and they seen the greatness that I had inside. And these women didn't see me as Tina, the First Nation woman who needed fixing, but they actually seen what was inside that needed to come out. 4 ladies, 1 was First Nation, 3 were white. I found my voice through this friendship, not by pushing away, but by embracing. I found acceptance, not by rejecting, but by recognition. I found peace, not by hating, but by accepting, and by friendship. And that's what ChahooThreads is about. That's who we are. It's about us connecting with each other and celebrating others, celebrating each other, celebrating cultures, celebrating diversity, and celebrating you and me and life, and celebrating each other. No matter the color of our skin, no matter that we're different, no matter that we believe different things, but just celebrating each other. So that's where we came out of, and that's who ChahooThreads is.